Joe Manchin announcing that, and I guess he did this yesterday, or no, he did this yesterday. He posted this to Twitter right after the show, probably so that to escape comment from the Majority Report. This is Joe Manchin's video posted to Twitter.
He won't run again because his poll numbers are so bad in West Virginia.
I've never cared about where good ideas came from, and I never blame one side for creating a problem, nor believed that only one side could fix them. When America is at her best, we get things done by putting country before party, working across the aisle, and finding common ground. Many times, this approach has landed me in hot water, but the fight to unite has been well worth it. Today, West Virginia is attracting more investment, opportunity, and jobs than it has in decades. Here at home and across the country, we are building more roads, bridges, manufacturing plants, and energy infrastructure than almost any time in America's history. After months of deliberation and long conversation with my family, I believe in my heart of hearts that I have accomplished what I set out to do for West Virginia. I have made one of the toughest decisions of my life and decided that I will not be running for re-election to the United States Senate. But what I will be doing is traveling the country and speaking out to see if there is an interest in creating a movement to mobilize the middle and bring Americans together. To the West Virginians who have put their trust in me and fought.
Okay. Imagine being responsible for plunging tens of millions of children into poverty after they had been lifted out of poverty for a year. And feeling like, I've done my job here. Mm-hmm. I mean,
He has done his job. That was his job, to kill those kinds of things.
Somebody in Vermont Ben wrote on the IM, I've never cared. Pause it right there. That's all you really needed from that statement. Now, let's assess two things about Joe Manchin, his retirement. One, the implications for Democrats' control of the Senate. To the possibility that he may run under the no labels. That's what he's talking about. You know, he doesn't, if he's traveling the country to listen to people, see if there's cries from the center. First off, I would love to see him do this so that we can laugh at how few people show up at his campaign events outside of, anywhere, really, unless it's just like he's talking to the Chamber of Commerce or something. But as I think he was going to lose this election.
Yeah.
And like you say, the polling numbers were horrible for him.
And he has a very good opponent in Jim Justice, the governor of West Virginia,
who formerly Democrat and then turned Republican, coming from a governorship. Do they term limit and go? And because I guess he did what Manchin did, which is like, I have sucked as much resources and corruption and graft out of the West Virginia government. Maximum. Yeah, I've sucked as much as term limits will allow, and therefore I'm going to move into senatorship and see what I can, get some rounding errors on that. But the good news is the Senate Re-elect Committee, all of the Democratic establishment who would have spent money on Joe Manchin, they would have had to, because even if it looked like he was going to lose, if he won and they didn't spend any money, it would be a disaster for them. So the idea that now you're not going to have that money spent on Joe Manchin is good. I mean, all things considered, you might want him in there, obviously, for that vote for.
But that makes me curious, honestly, what the conversations were like with Schumer behind the scenes. If Schumer was, sufficiently pissed, I think that I remember vaguely rumblings about them saying, we don't know if we're going to help you because of how aggressively he sunk things like Build Back Better. Like, maybe he had a sense that the Democratic Senate committee was going to be kind of like, we're going to put our money elsewhere. I got to imagine they would have put some, maybe not as much as Manchin would have wanted, but I think also what's really clear is he's not going to win in West Virginia. And it certainly makes messaging easier. But what it means is if
Joe Biden is the next president, or a Democrat is the next president, whoever it is, then obviously you have the vice presidency, you can break a tie. It now would basically mean that every Democrat running for office, Tester, Sherrod Brown, there's a lot others who are sort of like on the cusp too, supposedly. They must win. All the incumbent Democrats must win. The only pickup potential is either in Florida against Rick Scott, who has won, I think, all of his elections only by like less than 1%. And that's with, horrible candidates and a horrible Democratic Party in Florida. Still, I think it's a very much of an uphill battle. Or against Ted Cruz. Those are really, as far as I can tell, the only pickup opportunities for Democrats. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. So it's, you don't need 51. And of course, Sinema's seat could be tricky. Gallego could be tricky.
It's a three-person race at this point.
So we'll see in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see like which Democrat steps up in West Virginia, and it's very, very likely not going to go Democrat for sure. But they could just make a calculation, running on abortion, running on things like abortion, running on protecting Social Security and Medicare, maybe make it interesting, but. Like if the numbers in 2023 elections hold and there is depressed Republican turnout, this is a fairly unprecedented moment in terms of like what could happen. But the Senate map's not looking good.
No.
It's more about taking the House back for sure in 2024.
Well, yeah, you want to, if Joe Biden becomes president again, or if Donald Trump becomes president again, the idea of another Supreme Court justice seat opening up is for reals. Clarence Thomas is old. He, particularly if there's if the Democrats take the House, they might start investigating him. They're already starting to look at subpoenaing in the Senate. I think they put that off for a little bit. But Harlan Crow and Leo, what's his name?
Leonard Leo.
There could very well be a seat that opens up. I mean, it's always the case. Somebody could get hit by a bus, but, in some instances more likely than others. But it's going to be interesting. Hope springs eternal. But in this cycle, it's a tough one for Democrats in terms of the Senate. And then the question becomes, if Joe Manchin actually does run on no labels, how much damage does he do to the Democratic candidate, assuming for the moment that it's Biden, which I think is a pretty safe assumption, actuarial tables notwithstanding. Right now, we just had another third-party candidate, if you will, jump into the race, Jill Stein. So on the ballot right now, it's going to be, if we were to guess where everybody's at, it's going to be Trump, Biden, RFK, to the extent that he's gotten on any states. I'm not quite sure yet.
Cornel West,
to the extent that he's gotten any ballots. I don't know that he has yet. It's going to be Jill Stein. I imagine she'll be able to get onto some ballots. She's running with the Green Party.
Yeah.
And it could be Manchin. It could be a no labels candidate. And then presumably a libertarian candidate, though I haven't seen any real rumblings. I got taken off of the Libertarian Party email list, and so they don't
How authoritarian of them.
I know it. But this is the big fear that the Biden people have, is like third party candidates. And I don't know that it's just, I don't know. Jill Stein entering into the race, I think probably, I don't know if that she cannibalizes Cornel West or vice versa. Like, I don't know if that represents any more takeaway from Biden, although obviously the Green Party has a much better shot of getting on the ballot And I imagine Jill Stein still has that money that she raised for the 2016 recount, and that should buoy her candidacy. And folks are saying, don't forget Cenk, but he is not. He's not eligible.
Yeah.
As a natural born citizen, and also it doesn't matter. I don't think he's been able to get on a ballot yet.
Also, he's running as a Democrat.
Oh, that's right. He's running in
That's why it's not
he's
really
running in the
relevant.
primary. Right. He's not running as a third party candidate yet. And so that's where we're at. I guess we'll see. I think Joe Manchin takes from militant apathy. Cornel West was the Green Party. He was first the People's Party, then became the Green Party, and then became not the Green Party. And I don't even know who his new campaign manager is as of yet. It's been tumultuous, to say the least.